Hey guys, it is me, Nico from Misery Productions, and today I'm going to be giving you guys a new video, but before I do that, I have a very special guest that you will probably be seeing in these new videos for the next few weeks to whenever I stop doing these updates. And that is Jeff from my production team. Say hello.
Hello.
Yes, guys.
I'm Jeff.
Yep. So, okay guys, first off, what is this update, this new update I have for you guys? I already have the Bricks by the Bay exhibition updates for you guys on this channel every other Thursday. Now, I did the Bricks by the Bay update last week. These new updates are going to be giving you guys an inside look on the BricksCascade 2013 overall exhibit. So, I'm going to have a couple of new things to show you that are going to be exclusive to the convention itself, but I have one MOC that, as we all know, will be going to BricksCascade, BrickCon, and Bricks by the Bay. So, of course, you will be seeing this MOC constantly. And I'm proud to say that Jeff contributed a lot to the construction of this MOC this weekend. So, you know, and plus there is a couple of newer ideas that Jeff brought to the table about this MOC that I'm going to tell you guys about later on in the video. So let's get started. Now, the overall MOC progression of Yavin IV is basically close to being the same as it was last week. However, the only real difference about this is Jeff's new concept, but the progression itself is at 70%, and we are going to be working on this myself. By we, I mean me and Jeff. Unfortunately, none of the other team members could make it this weekend. But now let's go into the concept that Jeff brought in about the generator. So, Jeff, want to tell us a little bit about that real quick?
Of course. Well, I was thinking when I first looked at the MOC, I thought, this looks very detailed. But I thought to myself, well, it's a droid army, so they obviously have to have some sort of a shield generator.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a cannon would be nice, pretty much anything would be nice, but a shield generator kind of stood out.
Mm-hmm.
Because, they're droids. They're not going to be able to stand up against those lasers. They have to have some sort of other protection. So I thought, I think a shield generator would be a good idea. So I started thinking of how this would look, and I suggested here that we add a shield generator and a power generator to power the shield generator. Because you can't exactly have a shield generator without power.
Right.
Anyway, so currently I'm working on a prototype for the shield generator. It doesn't look very color-coded or matching at all. It's kind of just a jumble of pieces I was able to find. But it's coming along quite well.
A part of the actual prototype version is actually right here in the other table. I kind of might have messed that up a little bit, but it's nothing too major. But, yeah, my bad. I kind of picked it up and it got messed up. Yeah, but Jeff has another generic version of the shield generator itself on LDD at home. Like Jeff said, you know, whenever you're building something like that, sometimes you just want to get the basic feel of the build itself and worry about the color coordination of it later. So, you know, he's maybe building it off LDD. Alright guys, I apologize for that mild interruption. My grandmother came into the garage because she had to put some presents in the drawer there. But, as I was saying, on LDD, really, sometimes people don't think about color coordination, and more or less people shouldn't now, mainly because the buy your own model off the website feature has been disabled since January. So really, all you can do now is design stuff on there. You can't buy your models anymore, so.
Which kind of makes sense considering it's called Lego Digital Designer.
Right. Because as you guys know, like before, you could build a design on there and then you could just buy it and then make the model and then keep it there. You know, and the parts, the cost for the model would base it off the parts, which was kind of stupid because LEGO doesn't know how to base their prices off for their parts right, in my opinion. So, you know, I'm really glad that that feature is kind of disabled now, but you know, it's whatever. So yeah, but anyways, back on to the next thing. As you guys know, I still have a ton of parts for this MOC that we need to take care of and put in this MOC, but some of the things we did take care of were a lot of those trees back there. And as I stated earlier in the update, I personally think Jeff's side of the MOC is better. The section that he did was that section over there, and I did the section over here. Mainly, I say it's better because he didn't stick to the game plan of how I wanted the trees to originally look like. Jeff kind of did more of a freestyle generic version, well, not generic I should say, but he did more of a freestyle version with the trees. That can be kind of exhibited with that pretty tall dark green limb tree that you could see right there. As you can see on my side, all my trees are basically, or at least all my dark green trees are basically in the, you know, close to, I'd say maybe 14 brick range. Jeff did a higher version on his, and it does look better. You know, it's just gonna require a lot more attention to parts now that we, you know, are gonna, you know, sporadically do that for all these trees, which means we might have to make a bunch of trees smaller, which is okay. You know, it's nice to have a variety of sizes with your trees, you know.
Especially around the shield generator, considering that they would have had to chop down trees.
Right. And by the way, guys, that shield generator is going to go right in the middle where those palm tree, in quote, looking things are going to be at. Both those trees with the light green tree limbs are going to be light green tree limb trees. And they're going to be the only two light green limb trees in the MOC. So, you know, we're going to have that in there, and we're going to have the shield generator right next to where that prickly bush is. By the way, on those prickly bushes, I found a great deal on BrickLink for those, so now it just won't be these two lonely ones right here that are like farther away from each other. I'll be having more of those prickly bushes in this MOC, so I'm proud to say that that's another part of the detailed order for this. Now, we move down the chain to, you know, as we all know, if you watch the Bricks by the Bay update, the Pathway BrickLink order has arrived, and Jeff and I really didn't do anything with the BrickLink order for that itself, and we just kept the path the way it is. We're waiting until Mackenzie, either Mackenzie, Austin, or Ben can all come here. You know, even just one of them or two of them, or if all three of them can show up here, that'll be great. But we're waiting for at least another one of them to show so we can start building these, you know, or at least start working on the other half and get the rest of this thing updated. Because my plan is to section off the building for, you know, the rest of us do the middle section, or maybe two other people do the beginner section right here. So that's just my basic plan, but of course we're going to have to talk that out with the rest of the team member, because I don't want to seem like I'm too micromanaging, even though this is kind of the whole MOC concept was my idea. You know, I'm sharing ideas now. I don't want to seem like I'm too high up on this. Unfortunately, guys, even though today was a work day for me, I missed the chance to purchase the tile BrickLink order. So that means I'm going to have to wait till Saturday, which means a longer time for that sucker to get here. Which sucks, because now I can't say all of the 6 base plates are over there detailed, because the pyramid itself is not fully detailed. So that sucks. Also, one of the newer things that we were trying to implement was hopefully some light fixtures in the pyramids, because if you guys remember from my previous updates, I can take some of these off. As you can see here, really there's technically no light that would be shown from the pyramid. So I got a light fixture from a LEGO accessories kit, although I think LED lights would be better. or not LDD, LED lights would be better. I think there is a Lego company that does do special bricks for special MOCs like this, so we could get that going there. Jeff, I'm moving down to the the MOC organization tabs. You see it?
Yes.
Okay. So before I get to that, as you guys know, nothing has changed since the acquiring of the last Bricklink order for the pathway. Over 2/3 of the MOC in parts have been acquired. The last 1/3 is pretty much going to be all those tiles to detail up the rest of the pyramids. Now, as far as the MOC organization tabs go, really that tile Bricklink order is the last basic order that needs to be placed for this MOC. I have a couple of other orders consisting of parts for this MOC to give it a little bit more extra flair and extra detail. That's what I mentioned when I said that I would have more of these small prickly bushes here. That's in another order, but the parts in that order are mainly for another MOC, which I'm going to get to in a moment. But aside from that, nothing is new there. This MOC is still a Republic Custom sponsored MOC, although Republic Customs does not have the helmets he needs and really the decals he needs to make my troopers at the moment, but he's working on getting those decals as we speak. So the 41st Elite troopers are still a work in progress. However, the weapons, that order is also a work in progress, and they'll be CAC weapons. Nothing's changed about that. And same thing with clones, other clones. All the clones, Lego Phase 2 clones that are going to be in this MOC are going to be Lego clones, and I do not have an outside source for them just yet. At least it's not official. I think, what was his name, Bob, he didn't get back to me yet, so I'm not going to say that he's going to get me those clones for sure, but we're just waiting on that. But for right now, looks like the clones that are going to be for Yavin are going to be from Bricklink. So as of right now, this MOC is at an official 70%. So now let's get moving to one of the other cooler MOCs that I am about to start up. This MOC is one of the MOCs that will officially only be shown at BricksCascade, and that's the Battle of Umbara. And that MOC progression, ladies and gentlemen, is at 6%. The planning itself, 100%, but acquiring of parts and everything gives it an overall 6%. As you guys can recall, the Battle of Umbara was a 3-part episode series in Season 4 of the Clone Wars, and pretty much it involved more or less a lot of deception, really. Would you say, Jeff?
Yeah, I'd say there's quite a bit of deception.
And, just a lot of, really just a lot of action, though. Huh?
A lot of quick-wittedness and really sneaky tactics.
Right. But I do plan to have that MOC done pretty soon. I plan to get my Droid Army and Clone Army videos finished first. And when that's done, that MOC will be on these 6 gray base plates. So 2 here, 2 here, and 2 here. These 6 will be dedicated strictly for Umbara. And for Umbara, we are only going to use the Clone Wars episode references. So the good thing about having a team is you don't have just one person looking at the episodes consistently, looking into smaller intricate details about the scenery that we can implement into the MOC. You know what I mean? So I do plan to have Jeff and possibly Mackenzie or whoever wants to take up the assignment help me research how the landscape of Umbara is going to look and how we want to lay this thing out. Because we do plan to pack a lot into these 6 gray base plates. So, let's get a little bit technical with how this MOC is going to be. BricksCascade is 2 days of exhibition, which is different because I believe last year it was only 1 day. This year it will be 2 days. The Saturday and the Sunday. So the 9th and the 10th will be the exhibit days. On the first exhibit day, we will have the first showcase of it, which will include General Krell and the 501st going against the Umbarans and the Droids. That's only on day 1. So if you're going to BricksCascade and you're there on Saturday and Saturday only, you'll see that part of the Umbara MOC. The second half is the day that the doors are closed for from the public. We will immediately start working on the second half, where we will take the Umbarans and the Droids out, and the mobile defense tank, which, by the way, we are getting that from LEGO. We will be taking those out, and we will be pitting General Pong Krell against the 501st. Speaking of Pong Krell, I just received him today in the mail, and this is the LEGO version of Krell that is not to be released until January. I got him off eBay for $25. Yes, cheaper than David. I'm not going to release how much he got it for, but I got it for cheaper. Yes, as I drop it. But yeah, it is awesome. Wouldn't you say, Jeff?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, I showed Jeff this earlier before we did the video. And Jeff, feel free to jump in anytime. You know, don't...
Yeah. No, I'm just letting you talk for now, and then when I get to a part that I want to input something, I'll definitely do it.
Yeah. So that is Krell. And I'm planning to have him and Minifigs for You, the Minifigs for You 501st Troopers, come in. Now, although I'm having Minifigs for You clones in this MOC, I am not going to have 25 Minifigs for You 501st Clone Troopers. I am not, I repeat, I am not about to spend. Jeff, how much, forgive me, but I'm a little bit slow today. How much is 25 times 25?
Let's see, that would be 125 times 5, which would be just over $700.
Yeah, I'm not spending that much on clones. I'm sorry guys, I'm not that much of a hardcore collector as I used to be, but even though I'm still not spending that much on custom clones. Not even from David, not even with my discount. That's still, even if I had my discount, that'd still be close to over $400, which I'm not spending, and I'm not about to spend on just 501st Troopers from Minifigs for You. So for that, luckily for me, in addition to having the Krell that is going to be released soon, they have their own edition of the Umbara Troopers, but I'm going to use mine because I think LEGO's version of the Umbarans are crappy. Because LEGO, they do great on certain figures, like custom molded ones, like as we see with Krell. But when it comes to Umbarans, with the Umbarans, if you guys have seen the newly released pictures of the Umbarans that come with the mobile defense tank set, they look like crap to me. So, you know, I'm gonna just take my chances with my Umbarans because they look a little bit more accurate, in my opinion. They look closer to Michael MGF's, and I think Michael MGF did a decent job of getting the Umbaran troopers that he made for his Umbara MOC done, really with accuracy. By the way, in addition to having that the Clone Wars episodes as a reference for the landscape, I'm also going to use Michael MGF's MOC as a reference too. I'm not going to fully copy it, but I'm going to just get a little bit of pointers from it.
Inspiration.
Right. So anyways, back to the whole two-part MOC thing. If you guys are there on the first public day, you'll see it. Clones and Krell versus Droids and Umbarans. You're there the second day, you'll see Krell versus the 501st and 212th. So Krell versus clones. So that is pretty much it for that. As far as the Umbaran soldiers, for myself, I only have one complete one, which I am going to show you guys. And this is him. He looks pretty good in my opinion. He looks pretty much straightened out, you know, a lot more color coordinated to the picture from Wikipedia provided. Although he does have the same basic design as Michael MGF's Umbaran. It's not fully the same at all. Different torso design and everything. These torsos are actually Exoforce torsos, which we will have a little bit of an addition for Exoforce later on in this update. So, yeah, as far as the Umbarans go, I only have one complete Umbaran. I have 8 others right there that are still current work in progresses. And I am ordering, I'm supposed to have 50 Umbarans, so I have a lot more to buy with parts and everything else. So, I'm still working on that. And like I said, this is a Minifigs for You sponsored MOC. which means CAC weapons will also be used. And finally, the last thing, as I told you guys, I'm going to be having the Lego 501st 212 Troopers, the 501st Troopers, the 212 Troopers, and General Krell. I will also be having the sets. I won't be having the Umbarans, but I'll be having their defense tank. And I will also be having possibly 2 of the 501st ATRTs, although they look really tall, which might make it seem a little bit inconsistent because the mobile defense tank looks kind of out of scale also. That's the one unfortunate part with Lego when it comes to Star Wars figures. It's sometimes the ships are kind of not to scale with certain things. So that kind of sucks. But that is it for Umbara. And I think I blew off maybe 15 minutes just talking about those 2 MOCs. Overall, once again,
It happens.
Yep. Overall, once again, 70% here, 6% here. And hopefully by the time Jeff gets here on the weekends, maybe 72%, and hopefully 10 to 12% if we could get stuff done. Now, we move on to another MOC that's going to be there. As you guys know, if you guys follow the Bricks by the Bay updates, I have the zombie MOC that I'm going to be sponsoring Citizen Brick with for Bricks by the Bay. Now, I'm not going to bring that MOC to BricksCascade because as you can see, it's nowhere near finished. It's nowhere near started. So I'm going to have a prelude MOC to this at that convention. And that will be a mild BricksCascade exclusive. But I can't really call it exclusive because it will be continued by this MOC here. You will be seeing a couple of the same figures that are supposed to be in this MOC in that particular MOC. And hint hint, this will be his first time in Oregon. So Commander Bliss will be in Oregon soon. God bless. But yeah, a little bit more information. Sorry guys again for that other interruption. I am like really blowing the memory up with these memory cards, so I have to finish up at least the information on just this one last MOC before I switch memory cards. So this is going to be pretty much, like I said, a prelude to the Bricks by the Bay zombie MOC, which is the Canyon Rescue. This is when the clones who are supposed to be getting rescued are going to rescue the people who are with them from the town that they're in. So they're just passing through and they're just going to rescue them and, you know, bring them along to get away from the zombies. And that Zombie City Rescue MOC progression is currently at 5%. Mainly because all the basic planning and synopsis is already continued from the last, you know, MOC that this is supposed to be a prelude to. So that's done, and the basic layout of it is pretty simple. It's going to be a generic town, which is going to take up 4 base plates. 4 gray, at least. So we're going to give this like an apocalypse kind of feel. But, you know, that's going to be my first time doing that. And Jeff, how much experience do you have with apocalypse setting?
In Legos, very little. However, when it comes to like building things out of junk parts, which you have to do in an apocalypse, I'm pretty much an expert.
Alright, so Jeff shouldn't have a problem with doing it.
I can make stuff that looks like it's made out of junk, but it actually looks good.
Right. So, you know, I'm glad to say that Jeff is working on this, and a couple of our other team members will be working on this as well. And this is going to possibly be an RC custom sponsored MOC, even though more than likely I won't need any particular customs for this MOC. But more than likely, if I do, it's probably going to be an RC custom sponsored MOC. I already have the basic generic clone squad for it and the other figures. And the Citizen Brick order, I had originally planned for the zombies, might have to be placed early since, you know, I'll just knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. Or I could just message Joe and have him give me the zombie heads at the convention, if he's going to be sponsoring there, because there hasn't been any word from him or his partner about them being there. And also, since this is an apocalypse-like setting, and I have a couple of apocalypse guys on Flickr as my contacts, I will be using some of their MOCs as reference. So, that is it. Now, to recap, we have this MOC at 70%, the Umbara MOC at 6%, and we have the prelude to the Zombie Canyon Rescue MOC at 5%. So now, we're going to get on to some of the non-LEGO Star Wars MOCs. We're actually going to get to all of the non-LEGO Star Wars MOCs. And just for a little bit of basic info about that before I switch to the memory card, we have 4 non-LEGO Star Wars memory cards, which one of them, Jeff...
You said memory cards.
Not memory. Oh, I screwed up. Thank you, Jeff. I would have had some noob comment about that and I would have gotten pissed. Thank you. We have 4 MOCs. 4 MOCs that are non-Star Wars. And one of them, Jeff is really excited about because he's the one that suggested the idea about it. Isn't that right?
Do you want me to tell? Yeah.
No, well,
right, well,
yeah.
Let's see.
Just tell them what it is.
Okay. Well, basically, it is Exoforce. Something I used to love when it was out.
And same thing I used to love. I used to be into Exoforce a lot as well. When I was barely first getting into LEGO, that was one of my top themes. Mm-hmm. By the way,
so
yeah, go ahead.
I mean, if you know anything about Exoforce, you know it's 2 halves of a mountain, a bunch of bridges in the middle. We're still trying to work out exactly what we're going to do. It's either going to be like a cave setting where they're trying to get a mineral deposit back, or it's going to be a bridge setting where it's just a critical combat area, but it's going to be interesting.
Tell them about the Bricklink orders that you placed for it so far.
Yeah, I placed, well, multiple orders from different shops because obviously there aren't going to be one shop that has everything, considering how, well, not popular anymore.
Take it from me. How many Bricklink stores I've had to go through to get this thing done, you know?
Yeah. But what my hope is for this MOC is to get people interested back into Exoforce.
And hopefully bring it back as a category.
Yeah. Because it is, I think it's one of the most well-made types of sets, themes. It just has a very deep story, and it's just, I mean, it's interesting.
Right. And this current MOC progression is at 4%. We're actually more higher on this than we should be, since Jeff actually put his own money and his own really sweat into this MOC further, because, you know, he's the one who suggested it. You know, I didn't even think about promoting Exoforce until Jeff mentioned it when he was here last week. So I'm proud to say that, you know, this is a new MOC concept, and I'm proud to say that we're going to bring this back, hopefully try to bring it back. And because it's, you know, I didn't even go to Bricks by the Bay and see that category there. Now, before we get on to any more progressions, let me tell you guys what other MOCs we have planned, and then we'll close out with the Exoforce MOC here. But I have also, for the non-LEGO Star Wars categories, I have also Assassin's Creed Revelation, which will be based off the new video game. Hunger Games, the first one, which will be based off the first book. My apologies, you guys. Jeff has to deal with some issues. Or not some issues, but his sisters. Alright, you good?
Yeah, sorry, my sister came in.
Yeah, I kind of heard that. But, yeah. So, anyways, recap. Exoforce, Assassin's Creed 3, Hunger Games, and finally, TMNT, something I've loved personally since I was a kid. So this is something I brought up on my personal note. And I will start making Bricklink orders for this as soon as we get all of these Star Wars MOCs completed, just so we can have these out of the way. And by the way, guys, these will take up so much base plate, it's not even funny. You know, you got 21 green here, you have you have 6 going into another MOC here, you have possibly 2 to 4 that's going to go into the zombie MOC, and you know, we're still, like I said, we're still planning out the Exoforce MOC, the Assassin's Creed MOC, all the LEGO, or all the non-LEGO Star Wars MOCs are still a work in progress. So that's it for that. And actually my iTouch died, and now I'm going to cut off to the other memory card where we'll be giving you guys a deeper look into the Exoforce, Hunger Games, Assassin's Creed, and TMNT categories. Alright, hey guys, we're at the second half of this update, and if you have stuck around for the whole thing, you guys are now going to get to some of the cooler info about the overall convention MOCs that are not Star Wars related. So I've told you guys, or we have told you guys, about Yavin, the Rishi, Prelude, and Umbara. Now, we're going to tell you guys about all the non-LEGO Star Wars MOCs categories. So, since we've already actually gotten more done on Exoforce than I have anticipated, let's go back to Jeff with some of the newer info on that MOC.
Okay, well, like I said earlier, we were thinking of either doing a cave or a bridge. Obviously, they're both going to be very difficult to do because with a cave, you have all the varying textures on the walls.
Right.
And a bridge, it
Right.
has to be suspended between two mountains. So they're both going to be very difficult. But I think they'll be worth it.
Right. And this overall MOC progression itself is at 4%, mainly because even though the battle synopsis still has not been fully planned out and the landscape texture has not been fully planned out, we have gotten a couple bricklink orders in. And do you mind telling everyone what those bricklink orders consist of? Because I know we mentioned that earlier, but we didn't exactly tell you guys what Jeff had purchased from those bricklink stores.
I purchased a total of 8 iron drones. I purchased, let's see, a battle arachnoid,
And of course, if you're an Exoforce fan, a former Exoforce fan, you guys would know what some of these were, because most people stop.
Mainly, I got the creepy crawly looking ones because it's mainly geared towards a cave. But another reason I got the creepy crawly ones is because it'd work on a bridge, considering they could grip onto the bridge.
Right. And we'd have to grasp that concept more. But I mean, we were thinking about a cave texture or a bridge texture. Of course, if we did the cave texture first, then the bridge texture MOC would be for obviously another convention between Bricks by the Bay or BrickCon, depending on when we would decide to do that. Because just like how we're doing with the zombie MOC, we are preluding this to another upcoming MOC, which will be huge in size, hopefully, for BricksCascade or BrickCon. So we're trying to see what we could do with this. But overall, the battle synopsis is still being planned out. We can use possible old comics as references, because I do still have a couple of Exoforce comics from the...
Yeah, and they came in the actual instruction manuals, so...
Yeah, but I don't have the instruction manuals. I have the club magazines.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So we can use those as references. The overall landscape layout, I mean, if we do the cave, more than likely it'd be only 4 base plates. Probably, or 6 base plates. But it can't be more than Umbara, because Umbara itself is already big, and we already have, you know, those 3 MOCs, the 3 Star Wars MOCs, those are going to be close to about 12 base plates, 12 to 14 gray base plates worth of work. Because, you know, Yavin's 21 green, Umbara's going to be 6 to possibly 8, and then, but more than likely 6. Then the Zombie Apocalypse, or the Zombie Escape MOC will be 4 to 2. So, definitely a lot. But I'd say the Exoforce MOC itself, the layout would be like 4 gray base plates. And as Jeff already said, we have a bunch of the, more or less, the creepy crawly, in quote, droids, or drones for that MOC. We don't have any of the actual Exoforce members yet, because we actually plan to have...
Actually, yes, we do. We have a total of 3, but that was the ones that I'm going to be borrowing from a friend.
Which is also a possible addition to the team, if I might say, if he does contribute. Yeah. We'll also have a little bit more about the team information later on, guys. So, yeah. I believe that is all we had to say about the Exoforce MOC, is that right?
Yeah, that'd be about it. I mean, I guess one other thing I guess we could say is that if anyone knows of anyone that would be willing to sponsor this, or any of the other mocks that we're thinking of, I mean, that would be an option to... It would be definitely a welcome option.
Yeah, because not that many people, as we said earlier, not that many people still continue doing the particular category itself. So that would be nice to have some more contribution from those of you out there who do Exoforce still, or wanting to help bring it back as a category.
Yeah,
but overall, the MOC progression, I'm going to say it again, 4%. Now we move on to Hunger Games, which is probably the most, the second MOC that I have most planned out. Okay, the synopsis is basically what we've seen from the very first book. As you guys know, there are 3 Hunger Games books, for those of you who don't read, but that's just your basic info. There are 3 books. We're doing this MOC based off the first book. We're going to be doing the scene on the cornucopia, Katniss and Peeta versus Cato, I believe. And if somebody comments saying that I got the name of the villain wrong that's going up against Peeta and Katniss, then please scold me, because I haven't read the book in a while and they need to go buy it. So we're going to be using the book as a reference. Luckily for me, I have an additional family reference for this. One of my sisters is actually a total geek when it comes to Hunger Games, and she is willing to help us out with this project, or at least supervise over it. And this MOC will be one of the smaller MOCs, so it'll only be about 4 green base plates, but it'll be super detailed and uber detailed. That's one thing I could promise. So the overall landscape is planned out, and for sure, we do have a sponsor for this MOC. We're trying to work with Brick Warriors on their weapons, because as we have seen from the movie and the book, there are more urban combat, if you might say, bows and arrows and stuff like that. No guns, but more true survivalist weapons, Jeff? It's
yeah,
like,
but I mean, yeah, but they're more urban, like you said.
Right,
they're
so
not, like, primitive looking.
And actually, a good thing about this is we do have a couple of people in the Flickr community who are supporting this category. So I do plan to use some of their references. And that's pretty much all we have for this MOC yet. I have no parts acquired for this MOC, but I do have everything else planned out for it. So, in addition to that, that's another reason why I need to start buying up more greenery, is not just for Yavin to add more detail, but to also incorporate more detail into this MOC as well. So, I'm going to reiterate. Exoforce MOC progression, 4%. Same thing with the Hunger Games, 4%. Now, we're going to get down to the third MOC, Assassin's Creed 3 Revelation. This will be based off the video game, and I already have 3...
one thing, do you mind if I make a correction real quick?
Or Revolution, or something like that?
No, it's just Assassin's Creed 3.
There's what?
It's just Assassin's Creed 3. I didn't know if you knew that. Revelations is the game that came before it, I believe.
Ah, yeah, I screwed up there. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah,
that's the second time you saved my ass tonight. But yeah, so the Assassin's Creed MOC, that's going to be done based off the video game. I'm going to be doing the very first trailer scene where Connor Kenway, which is the new main assassin in this film, in this video game, is going up against all these British Imperial soldiers, and he's just killing them, knocking them down one by one, and he finally just shoots the general with that bow and arrow. If you saw the trailers for Assassin's Creed, you know what trailer I'm talking about. We're going to be basing the scene off that, and we have the landscape for this MOC already planned out as well. This will be decently... What did we say this MOC might be? 2 gray base plates worth?
Yeah, possibly 3, simply just to capture a longer battle scene, but I think our idea was 2.
Right. So, that's it for that. And then, this will also be a Brick Warrior sponsored MOC, but I'm also going to have a couple of Brick Arms weapons in there, just because they have more technical weapons from that time period, and plus they have bayonets in their arsenal. I'm talking about Brick Arms here. Brick Warriors, they also have a couple of good stuff for the Civil War era as well, so I might take interest in looking at their gear and their items. And lucky enough for this, they also have Flickr support. I also have friends who have Flickr. I mean, I also have friends on Flickr who do support this category of MOC making as well. So that's another Flickr support MOC that I will be using, because I have plenty of friends who have done Connor Kenway custom Connor Kenway assassins on Flickr already. So that's really good, and that's pretty much it for that. Now we get down to the final MOC, and that is the TMNT MOC. For those of you who don't know that abbreviation, that means Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And
I highly doubt people don't know what that is, although that is a good idea to tell them that, but still. If you don't know what that
if
is,
you think about it, okay, the Ninja Turtles haven't really been emphasized since probably 2004 to 2006.
But
so
still, if you haven't ever even heard of TMNT or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you've been either living under a rock or you were socially deprived.
Jeff has a point. Yes, but I will be using kind of the old movie settings for this, and this MOC category was my idea, since we needed something to go along with Expo Force. We will be using the new cartoon as a reference, but also the older movies. We are still currently planning the battle synopsis and the overall setting, so we don't have a MOC layout for you guys yet. And we will possibly use the actual TMNT Lego sets that came out earlier in the year, so I'm proud to say that we'll be using that. But that's pretty much it we have for this MOC as well. I don't have the full landscape layout planned out yet, so that's one unfortunate thing. Okay, so the MOCs are done. We probably blew up half this memory card. Now, let's get down to the minifigure stand. Now, I don't have 3 sponsors, so the third level is kind of useless at the moment. Luckily for me, I made this display stand where you can pretty much customize it to how you want it to look. Luckily for me, you know, I can easily just take out this third level and make it to where it's only like a 2 sponsor stand. So, as you can see here, I have my Republic Customs figures here and my Minifigs for You Customs here. Luckily for me, I've talked with David recently, and he has a couple of new products for me for Minifigs for You. I'm not going to release that yet because he doesn't want me to release any of the new information on the customs, not even to my own team. So, I'm not going to tell you guys what's going on with that either. But my overall progression with the stand now is at 85%, so there's only 2 customizers. And now that this thing is really to basic height, now I could start making the custom labels for Minifigs for You and Republic Customs, and also the custom labels for Flickr, YouTube, and possibly Twitter icons for the stand itself. So that's great. I don't know
if I've told you about this, but I actually had an idea.
And what is that?
If it, like, we could literally, which I just came up with this actually right now, believe it or not, but if, like, when the time comes, we could actually make custom minifigures labeling how many YouTube or Twitter followers or even Flickr, I don't have a Flickr, so I'm guessing it's Flickr friends, we have, just to showcase how well known we are.
Huh. That's a great idea. We'll discuss on that idea on the next update. Hopefully, because since Jeff brought this up just now, we can discuss that in the next update. But yeah, guys, so basic ideas, only promoting 2 vendors here. I have 1 RC custom figure on the way, which is basically a generic version of a clone Shock Trooper guard, and that will be here. And of course, I have obviously 5 more customs to go after that before the custom stand is filled out. Now, the only trouble with the Minifigs for You stand is because I'm going to be using all of the Minifigs for You figures I have at the moment, well, that are 501st. In the Umbara scene, all of this back row is going to be not full anymore. So now I'm going to have to pick new products for this back row that David will want me to advertise for. So that's one unfortunate thing, but this won't be too much of a problem. Since next week, like I told you guys, the new products will be released. But I'm curious to see how long those will last, and if I'll be able to get all those. And same thing with the Flickr labels, not being able to make those yet. I haven't gotten any of the business cards from Dakota or David, so I don't have the official layout for their minifigure stand yet. I have this done, but I don't have the card holders. And finally, the last thing I want to talk about in this update is the team. As you guys know, we have Jeff, and then we have Mackenzie, who is not here with us tonight. Now I'm going to talk to you guys about the members who are possibly going to be joining us. I originally had a couple of members planned, 2 of them being people we could utilize as building and strategizing techniques, and the other 2 we could utilize as drivers. And for those of you who don't know, from the last update I mentioned them, was my friends Dara and Darren, and then those 2, they're brothers, and then my friend Brittany and her sister Nicole. Those are my 4 biggest options at the moment. But Jeff just recently brought up 2 more people who are actually more experienced with Legos than the 4 I mentioned, and who are...
Which let me add, one of them has a bigger bionicle collection than I have ever seen in my life.
Okay.
Like, he custom built his bionicles.
Then he might have to bring those with him, because there's a lot of bionicle vendors at these conventions. So, yeah, and those guys are Ben Stratman and Austin Weber. Those are not Weber, Webster. I don't know why I said Weber.
I don't know either. That actually kind of sounded funny. I think I might call him that now.
Oh, okay. But don't tell him I started that.
I will know. It's just going to be funny.
And as you guys know already, I talked with my uncle.